done a video, and gosh, I'm thinking it's almost been 2 weeks. At least it feels like it, even if it hasn't. And I wanted to make sure I got one out there. Today's thoughts are really more just sort of a journal update and to let you kind of all know what's been going on. Still wrapping up the end of fall semester. The 2 final classes I've been finishing up are Texas Government, my final core class on government, and my physical anthropology class. I was able to work ahead on my government class, and actually I'm done 2 weeks ahead of schedule on that class. And as of right now, I have a B. So there won't be, he's graded, our instructor's graded everything, so I don't see any reason why I won't finish out that class with a B. I have physical anthropology, and it's still kind of a challenge. I think I've mentioned that a little bit in some other videos as far as studying. I'm down to the last 2 weeks on that, so I've got assignments due on Sunday and assignments due next Sunday, and then between the 12th and the 14th, I have to take the final exam. So right now, I have a low A in that class, and to be quite honest with everything that's gone on, I am looking to just get a B, to do well enough on the exam. She's been very generous on her grading on the assignments, but on the exam, I know we really have to kick up our game, so I'm really just want to hit a solid B on that class. A couple of hiccups, which is partly why I haven't been posting as much. I have a family member that has gotten sick. They're sort of in a hospice, skilled nursing situation back in Dallas. And, it's, as you'll find when you're going back to school, and some of you I know have way more challenges than I have had, and that's, so I always hesitate to not complain, but just be, I don't know, maybe critical of what's going on in my outside world, because I know that I have a lot less situations than other people, and I'm so grateful for that because I'm allowed to be able to be on this journey. But what you'll find is that the beauty of an online class situation, which I would consider a pro, is it gives you the flexibility to be anywhere that there's an internet connection. And so with this family member and being able to help out, it's an extended family member, removed for 20 years approximately. But it allows me to go ahead and be in Dallas for 2 weeks here in December and sort of go visit them every single day, be a familiar face, help the people that are coming into town to visit this person. I'm going to be able to stay in their house and do some cleaning and some organizing, which is going to help in the big picture. And I'm grateful that I can do that. I mean, that's a real pro on the side of pros and cons to being in this situation. One of the cons that I've had to sacrifice, though, is when we got word this person was ill, we had to buy last-minute plane tickets to go there. And so because of that, I don't have the money to pay for tuition, and I don't really have the flexibility, or will have the flexibility after December to, maybe go back and help because there's no more money. And that's just what happens when you are not working. And these are things that I mention because they are happening to me, and I promised I would share some of that. But bigger than that, it gives you food for thought. I don't want you to not do something because you might end up in this situation, but you do have to be realistic about it. And so the negative is, yeah, I really am. I joke about being a broke college student, but I genuinely am. And, $1,000 in airfare, my portion of that, because my son went as well, but my portion of that is close to $700 of money that was supposed to pay tuition for not only the December flex session, but for January's spring session. So I'm down to 3 classes to get my associates, and now I've got to figure out a way to pay that. So for December, what's going to happen now, which is going to be a little bit different than what I've talked about, since I don't have money for tuition and I don't have money to go do anything else, I am already set, thank God for travel miles. Thank God when I traveled in my job, I saved miles, because that's how I'm getting back and forth to all these places. So, it sounds silly, but covet your miles on your airlines because they can really help you out, either visiting family or going places where you need a place to stay. The beauty of my situation is I have lots of places to stay all across the country, and people that are just very welcoming. And that was part of the plan anyway for 2017 was, to pretty much live rent-free 2017 while I wrapped up my associates and got settled into my final 2 years of a bachelor's program. So I will be headed to Dallas on Wednesday the 7th, and I'll be there until the 21st, so 2 weeks. Then I had a ticket already arranged, or I got used miles to fly from Dallas to Atlanta to visit my son for a week over Christmas. And then I already had a ticket from Atlanta back to Phoenix, and so I will fly back to Phoenix on the 28th of December and be in Phoenix for the month of January. I've got sort of, some opportunities that may work here for job, and I am still trying to, the plan right now is I have to go take a test in Dallas on the 7th for that math that I've been laboring about for months, and I will probably still try to take a flex math class, that one flex math class, December and January. That means for spring, which starts in January, regular semester, I will only have my Spanish class and my final math class, because it's probably going to take me 2 math classes to get my associates. Hard to believe when I've been in banking for 15 years that that math is my one nemesis at this point. Different kind of math though. Give me a financial statement any day over linear lines in algebra. I'm just saying. So I will be able to park here in January until the end of the month, which doesn't cost me anything. I might have some temporary stuff work. And I'm actually, once I get towards the end of December, I'm going to start hitting up my contacts here and looking at doing some work here in Phoenix and just staying put so that I can try to get money to pay for that tuition. Or if I have to put that off, I just play it by ear. As you know, and as we've seen over the last 6 to 8 months of this process, sometimes you just have to play it by ear and see what happens. So anyway, I'll be back in Phoenix there in January and kind of pushing through. And really the plan now is, because I have to carry those 2 classes in spring semester, is I will not be able to start my bachelor's program until either summer or fall. And I'm sort of loose on whether I want to start in summer, which would be a May start date, or an August start date for fall semester, only because if I get some work going, I may want to do that instead, although the mission here is to stay in school. So if I can wrap up my situation on where I'm going to finish my bachelor's, then I could maybe at least take 1 online class through the summer. And that would, just help keep moving me forward. And I think it's really important that I continue to at least have 1 class in the queue no matter what. But right now, at the worst case, would be to try to have enough money and financial support to hit the books full time for fall of 2017. So I believe it's all going to work out, but I'm trying to be really realistic about just the short term here. And the short term here is, quite frankly, I'm a little depressed that I don't have money for tuition. And I've just about used up all the miles I have, at least in the what I call the open kitty of miles, to do sort of all this flying back and forth. So, I'm grateful that I'm able to help, and I'm grateful to be able to have these moments with these family members. But it's just not going to be possible after the first of the year, barring some different situation. So that's okay. It's just part of it's a really emotional thing too. So when you're working through your journey and you've got these sort of things coming up, sick family members, unemployment, financial pressures, children, those are all things I'm facing, and you're going to face them too in most cases. Maybe your children are younger and they're at home with you, and so that's a bigger concern. In my case, my child's grown and can take care of himself and is actually helping me. So, but I don't want to be a burden to him, so then you deal with that too. So there's, the whole point of this whole video is you're always going to be carrying around something in your head that is a worry or a concern. The one thing I can tell you is when school matters to you, and it does to me, and I think it matters more and more as I move forward, when it matters to you, you have a belief deep down that it's going to work out. I mean, you put all these wheels in motion, and it's really believing in yourself and really putting faith in the people that are closest to you and that help you every day, you know. And I am blessed that my immediate family, my son, my mother, my aunties, my dearest and closest friends, not one of them still thinks I'm crazy. Well, I shouldn't say that. They still blame me for being like a bad influence at happy hour. But from a school perspective, they're all super, super supportive. And sometimes it makes me want to cry. It's been kind of an emotional couple weeks. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Now, the other little bit of news I want to tell you is I have pretty much decided, I shouldn't say pretty much, I have decided. I really want to finish my bachelor's at Montana State. So my original plan here right now is if I can get the associates done, then I can enter their online program. That's the requirement. You can't enter their 2-year online completion program without an associates. You can't just transfer into it. So that's why pushing for the associates has become such a critical point for me. So if I can finish that, then I can enter their online program and sort of stay in their online program through 2017, which is really what I'd like to do. I really do want to take advantage of the opportunity to still go see family in upstate New York, and to sort of have freedom to, if I found a job here in Phoenix, to stay in Phoenix. If I found work up in Bozeman, I could obviously be in Bozeman for the summer, or for the fall, spring, summer, whatever. It just gives me flexibility on the options where there might be work. You know, keeping in mind, I'm really not keen on a long-term full-time situation. That goes against what I want for school. So I'm really looking at either temporary or contract or part-time that I can still work in. You know, it's really, I think it's going to become what is a good fit, and I'm going to know it when it happens, or it's going to just, I'm going to be blessed with a situation I can't pass up. So still looking into that. And then I would probably like to try to either, if things are going great, I'll finish my final year online, or I will transfer to the actual university. Of course, in that vein, there is a difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition. And I'm going to an awful lot of trouble to work on making sure that I can get in-state tuition. So I actually will be doing the appropriate things. I've already, you know, formally changed my address, you know, making myself a permanent resident of Montana, filing the tax returns, and changing my driver's license. So those of you that watch, you know, I will be up in Bozeman the last December. Thank you, Miles, by the way, on Delta. January 31st. I did not book a return yet because I'm not sure the process of how long I'll need to be there or what's going to be going on at that time. But yes, the Southern girl is going to the freezing cold in the dead of winter so she can get her driver's license and, you know, maybe register her car and do some other things up there too. So I will be up there for about a week, not renting a car. I'm hoping that if some of you are around, you will come by Mom's and get me so we can have lunch or a beer. Keep in mind I am broke, so I'm only good for like one. But doesn't mean I don't want to see you or come over to your house and hang out and visit. I would really, really love that, as a matter of fact. I've missed quite a few of you, and I don't think I need to name names. You all usually watch these videos anyway. So there's my journal entry. There's what's going on. Feels a little bit of a hot mess. Might even sound like a little bit of a hot mess. But I do want to emphasize again, I think I've said it in a prior video, that coming to Arizona was one of the best decisions I've made. It has been very healing for me. It has allowed me to stay on track working out, eating right, doing all the things that keep my mind and my body healthier, or at least on that track. Never underestimate the power of friends. You know, never. You know, they are your sisters. Those women, they are truly your sisters, and don't ever underestimate them. And their belief in you and their support of you, I think it it should go without saying, but I think we have to say it to remind ourselves and to remind them how valuable they are to us. So I'm not sure what else to tell you except that I'm not launching the website in January. That's a month from now, or actually it would be about 6 weeks when I was going to launch. It's not ready. What we are going to do is fund the scholarship for 2017. Being here in Arizona has allowed me to work on my writing, and it has also allowed me to continue to work on the business plan and the website and the scholarship. So the Fly Higher After 30 scholarship plan is pretty much ready to go. We're going to launch a GoFundMe site, and we're going to do a funding campaign from January 1st, 2017 to 12/31/17. 2017 is merely for funding. I want every one of you to contribute that little $10. We are registering as a nonprofit, so you will be able to get a tax deduction for it. It will go through a GoFundMe site, and then we will sweep the funds eventually into an interest-bearing account for 2017. And then the goal or the hope would be that the first scholarship we could award would be for spring semester of 2018, which is January. So we would actually be hoping to look and get some public support out there and some ideas on the get some applicants in the fall of 2017 while we're still in the campaign fundraising. It's pretty exciting. The goal right now is we would offer 2 scholarships a year at $1,000 a piece, one in the spring and one in the fall. It's available to women over 30, whether they're pursuing a first time or going back. This is not for people that are masters. This is a first time program. The goal here, it's not income based. The goal here was I got caught in a situation where I couldn't get a lot of scholarships, and I can't because I made too much money in my job, and so it hindered my school. This situation that shouldn't matter. If you're going back to school and this is what you want to do to get whether it's just an associate's or whether to go through to your first bachelor's, do it. It does require an essay. And there is a media release because we want the winners of the scholarship. The plan would be is they would do some videos for the website and for Facebook, and also share part of their journey with us as well. I mean, this is going to be a long, ongoing process. So I really want in the back of your mind to think about all the women that we can support. And for the record, this scholarship campaign has nothing to do with me. It is not for me. I'm the executive director of Fly Higher After 30, but I am not in any way, other than my out-of-pocket expenses, will have any ability to draw on those funds for scholarship or for school or for any expenses that I have that are not directly related to managing the scholarship or managing the website. This is a scholarship fund. So the funds go beyond just whatever we need for the bank. The funds go, I'm going to say probably 95%, if not 99%, would go towards those scholarships. So this is not to put me through school. Just because I'm having a rough patch financially to pay for my tuition, that's not what this campaign is for. This is for all of us to put money in a scholarship fund and participate in the dreams of women that want to go back to school after 30 and help them. Even if it's that first $1,000 that pays for that first semester, $1,000 at a community college could almost pay, depending upon the community college and if you're in state and in district, could really pretty much pay for almost a full semester's worth of classes. It may not pay for the books or living expenses, but it really could pay for that tuition, and funds would be sent directly to the school. I've got 2 other women in mind to be on the committee, so it wouldn't be a decision left up to me. So those are all the high-level points. I didn't intend to get into a lot of that this time. I'm going to post another video all about it, and then I'm going to post some of the guidelines on Facebook as well, because January 1, I'll be the first person to put a little bit of money in there. Money I don't have. But when something matters, you do it. So we'll open the GoFundMe site with a little minimum tiny deposit, and then boom, we've got 12 months to raise the money. And you'll all be part of that. Transparency and seeing where the money's going. That's why we're going to be a nonprofit. so we can open those books and show whoever we need to. So I think that's kind of it for today. I don't have a whole lot else to tell you other than, hang with your dreams and keep doing what it is you want to do. For me, it's school and finding a way through it. And, don't worry about what your passion is. Wake up every day and figure out what you're going to do that day and how that can be productive. And maybe it's giving back. Maybe it's helping your family. Maybe it's opening that drawer where you put those dreams in 20 years ago or 30 years ago and say, I think I'm going to pull that one out. See what that's about. See if that's something I still want to do. Anything. I mean, that's the beauty of where we're at now. Broke or wealthy, we can do anything. It's just we have to figure out how to do it. All of us. Although sometimes a little money does help, but whatever you do, don't let that get in your way, please. And don't be afraid to ask for help. And don't be afraid to have a meltdown. Just as a side note on this video, I had a little bit of a meltdown earlier this week. I was looking at the Montana State website, and they do a really good job of marketing, but there were some profiles on the part of the website that promotes to prospective students. There were some students on there. There were some past students, some alumni. And I was reading their bios, and for like 2 hours, I didn't feel smart enough to go to school there. Even though I have a 3.7 GPA and I've done pretty well, I had all those doubts that you may have too sometimes. And those doubts were, I'm not smart enough to finish my degree. I better just wrap up my associates and move on with my life. I'm not smart enough. And a good friend of mine, who I'm staying with, came home, and I sort of had a meltdown because I was telling her about it, and I started to cry. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, you're focusing on alumni. Some of them have been graduated for years and years and years. And not everybody's smart in college. Think about the kids you've already gone to school with the last 2 years. Just because you haven't seen them in person, they're all over the map. And she reminded me that she thinks I'm one of the smartest people she knows. And that if I could figure out how to keep staying in school and how much it matters to me, and I am smart enough to go. So that's really more of a topic for another time. But I wanted to point it out because, it's December right now, and you're going to make some New Year's resolutions, no doubt. And you're going to be thinking about things that you want 27 to bring for you. And one of them might be school. And you're going to have doubts. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to look in the mirror, or you're not, because maybe you don't want to look in the mirror, but you're going to have a voice in your head that might, I hope it doesn't, but it might say, you're not smart enough. You've been out of school a long time. Do you remember when you were back in school and you only got, C's? Remember way back then, 30 years ago, when you only got C's? Well, just stop. Shut them down. You are smart enough. You're smart enough because you made it this far. You are good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, and amazingly enough. And with all of your help, we're going to fund a scholarship to even help give you that first step or a continued step so that we can help relieve part of your financial burden when that semester is really bad. I believe in you, and thank you for believing in me. Sorry about the ranting and raving and if it's gone a little long. Talk to you soon. Bye.